Today's topic is the sustainability movement on the campus of the University of St. Gallen. 1987, Oikos was founded as one of the first sustainability student clubs at this university. Over the years, about 50 international chapters and several initiatives from within have grown to the Oikos family. Together with one of their spin-offs, Student Impact, they have both been nominated as finalists for the Green Gown Award. For this occasion, I have invited the two presidents of Oikos and Student Impact. Welcome to the podcast.
Great to be here.
Thanks for the invite.
So please introduce yourselves.
Sure. So I'm Anna. I'm 21 years old. I'm originally from Zurich, and I just finished the fourth semester of my Bachelor in International Affairs here at HSG.
And you're the president of?
And yes, I'm the president of Oikos St. Gallen, of course.
I'm Johannes. I'm 26, originally from Austria, and I would say I'm a HSG product through and through. So I've started my bachelor's here in 2014 in business administration. Gap year, came back for my master's in banking and finance. And now I'm at the end of my master's, and I'm the president of Student Impact since last summer.
Mm-hmm. So before we start with the discussion, I would first want to take a look back. I mean, Oikos was founded at a very early point in time, 1987. It was a time where sustainability wasn't as popular as it is nowadays. Why was it founded back then?
It's an interesting question, and there's actually many different stories that go around, and different people have different perspectives on what led to what we see today. And I think you're right, it was a very early time for this topic of sustainability, but it also was a huge opportunity. And I think HSG back then already had this kind of tradition of engaging students and fostering an environment in which students are particularly engaged. And so the Oikos conference, the first one, which happened in 1988, actually used to be the leading platform for dialogue on sustainability in the German-speaking part of Europe. And obviously over time now, as the topic has grown in popularity, the dimensions of the conference have changed, and it's really exciting to see what it's led to.
Mm-hmm. What do you do nowadays?
So the mission of Oikos St. Gallen has 3 pillars. The first is to empower ourselves and each other as student change agents. The second is to raise awareness for sustainability, not only challenges but also opportunities, and there are many of those. And finally also to build institutional support for curriculum reform here at the HSG.
Mm-hmm. Now, the Oikos family has constantly been growing since its foundation. You're international. You have various internal initiatives such as UN Dress, Sustainability Weeks, and many more. And one of the spin-offs is Student Impact. You were originally part of Oikos, as I remember. Maybe you can go on telling me how it was founded.
Yes, so we were founded in 2012 as Oikos Consulting at the time. And I would say the idea behind this initiative was basically the realization that, well, everything's not going well in the world, in the economy. We have climate change, biodiversity crisis, inequality, and business is an important stakeholder in this. And the founding team at the time noticed that there's a critical number of businesses who want to contribute to changing this. But many of them, especially small startups, but also SMEs who want to change their ways of doing things, they were lacking the resources, knowledge, time, money to change their ways, or in the case of startups, to grow. So that's the one side, the business side. And then on the other side, on campus, there was and still is a critical number of students who also see this necessity for change, who want to contribute already during their studies, and who are looking for ways to do so. And the basic idea of Student Impact is to bring together both sides, the students and the businesses who need support, and to do so in the framework of student consultancy offerings, which is what we've been doing since 2012. The concept was very successful in the beginning. Student Oikos Consulting at the time grew quite substantially, which is why in 2014 we decided to sort of spin off and do our own association. And I would say this is the starting point of the success story of Student Impact, and we've been growing ever since and celebrating our 10th birthday next summer. and hoping to celebrate many more in the years to come.
Mm-hmm. Now, sustainability with Fridays for Future and everything, it has increased even more in popularity. Have you felt sort of a change on the perception of the importance of sustainability topics here on the campus?
I think definitely among the sustainability club scene, we've noticed changes. There's a lot more exchange between the different clubs. For example, the emergence of the eConnect community, which is kind of an umbrella association for all the sustainability clubs at HSG. And yeah, there we have regular board roundtables to exchange. And I think it's really wonderful to have that in the HSG context. In the Oikos international community, we also have that. Essentially, at the end of the day, all the different chapters have the similar problems and find themselves in similar environments with similar challenges. So it's really nice, to know that you're not alone. And we also see that in our member numbers. I think especially Student Impact has seen lots and lots of applications in recent years.
Mm-hmm. What is the motivation behind those students who want to become part of your movement?
I would say it is, I'm citing our slogan here, be the change. So it's really the opportunity to give students a chance to contribute, to have an impact. I think we also carry in our name. And this is something that I would say our generation is striving towards more and more. And we provide them opportunities to do so during their studies. I would also say it's our basic sort of way of how we approach students. It's the idea that everybody can contribute already during their studies. You don't have to wait until you graduate, until to rise up the ladder within firms, corporates. You don't have to necessarily found your startup right away. There's other avenues to effectuate positive change here on campus right away. And I think it's also this just basic feeling of giving students a voice, which I think they very often just don't feel they have while they study. And I guess everything combined makes the appeal of Oikos and Student Impact for students here at uni.
And the community and the element of fun. I think that's something that can never be missed.
Mm-hmm. What is the community here on campus? Can you explain me a bit? What do you do? What does it feel like to be part of your community?
It's hard to put into words, really. I think it's something that everyone experiences in slightly different ways. For me, it had a lot to do with just feeling understood, feeling surrounded by like-minded people, people who want to stay up until midnight or later to talk about how we might found this new initiative or pursue this new project. So I think it's really this intrinsic motivation that you sense. And I think for me, that's also what learning and university is all about, trying things and really engaging yourself, because I found, at least personally, multiple times that the more I contribute and the more I try to have an impact, it also has an impact on me and I learn. And so it's really a win-win kind of situation.
Mm-hmm. You both have a huge commitment of time for your projects. I think, Johannes, you told me you were engaged for 3 years as a president. What motivates you personally to be part of Student Impact?
I would say I see in my everyday work the immense energy and drive and motivation that students bring. Students who shoulder a full course load. And besides that, during their free time, they say, well, I want to sort of support sustainable businesses become successful. And they do that with lots of, I would say it's a sign of being a responsibility being taken on, but it's also a lot of fun in the end. You get to know a lot of like-minded people. You get to glimpse into this sustainable business scene, which is growing immensely. And I mean, looking into the future, there's going to be tremendous transformations in the business community. And here at the intersection of university, business school in particular, the business side and students, you feel there's a lot of things going on, a lot of things changing, lots of potential also that's going to be untapped at some point. And I would say it's, for me personally, incredibly enriching to work on this intersection every day with cool people, cool businesses, and also faculty here at uni.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of faculty and university, I think we as a business school also have a responsibility to change for a more sustainable future. I think you've made a huge survey on that. Maybe you can talk a bit about your wishes and your suggestions of how a business school should change to make people change agents for a better future.
Sure, yeah. I think within Oikos, it's always been part of our mission to integrate sustainability into the HSG curriculum. And so we have a project dedicated towards that. Our view is that sustainability should be treated in education as it is in the real world, or as it will have to be in the real world, and that is integrated into all aspects in a meaningful way. And so that was always clear to us as Oikos. But then we were wondering also what the wider student body actually thought. So we conducted the positive impact rating for the second time here at HSG, and we actually managed to reach 468 business students who then shared their opinion on what the HSG should start, stop, and continue doing to have a more positive impact on society. And there it was really interesting for us to see that actually across all three of those areas, curriculum change was the topic that was most mentioned. So I really hope that this can be kind of a conversation starter on campus for how we can make that change happen and at the end of the day, give the students the education that they wish for.
So you mentioned curriculum, this is one part. Are there other things that should change as well?
I think within curriculum, for me, there's kind of two branches to it. On one side, there's the content, but on the other, there's also the format in which teaching happens. And kind of, I think that is something that we learn in student associations, that if you get involved and you try things out rather than having only theory to work with, then you learn also skills like critical thinking. And I think in a world, it's changing very rapidly. So hard knowledge will only ever last us for so long. And so another thing could be focusing on this critical thinking as a key skill in the 21st century.
So do you have both taken courses on sustainability at the HSG, or is there a huge offering of courses?
This one's for you.
I have. I mean, I've been here quite a while, and I do have to say there have been changes. So when I was here in my bachelor's, 2014 to 2017, I feel like there was not that much. And I took maybe one or two maximum, but then came back for my master's and took part in the first cohort of the Managing Climate Solutions certificate. And I think that's essentially the answer to this huge demand on the student side. And there I had the great opportunity to only do sustainability courses. And I would say the offering is growing. But you can see on the demand side, if you look at this certificate specifically, which I think has been oversubscribed substantially for the second time in a row, that students still want more. And I think this is something where university definitely needs to step up and broaden the curriculum, broaden the offering, maybe also broaden this program in particular to give students the chance to acquire the skills they want to have and that are going to be required in the marketplace. I think that's also very important. It's not only students who want this, it's also increasingly businesses. I think it was a Big Four firm only 2 weeks ago. They said they want to increase their headcount by, is it 30-50% over the next 5 years, only sustainability specialists. And you do have to wonder, where do these people come from? Right now, I would say not all of them will come from the University of St. Gallen, but same goes for other business schools. I think this is a collective problem where all have to step up, but it's a great adventure that we can take part in here.
Mm-hmm. So what is your opinion on the integration of sustainability into curriculum? Should it be part of every course, or should there be more courses especially dedicated to sustainability?
We've talked about this, and it's a topic that's much debated also Oikos internally. And I think the conclusion that we reached eventually is that for a university to be a leading business school, I think every graduate has have had to have some sort of sustainability training. And so the conclusion that we reached is that we would like to see sustainability really integrated into the mandatory curriculum here at HSG. And yeah, I think at the end of the day, this is the most meaningful way to learn as well, because that's how it is in the real world. No decision can be taken in the future without a sustainability consideration.
Mm-hmm.
And I think building onto that, it's integrating it, but it's also changing the very foundation of how we think about business. I think in the end, we somehow forgot along the way that business was originally invented to be a tool to solve problems. But now it appears to have become an end in itself. And I think that's something we just have to realign. It's a mean towards an end. And I think business schools and education sort of needs to remind students or to help students along the way to find this specific end. And I think there's lots of them. There's lots of problems that we can solve. If you look out, I always think, wow, what a time to be alive. What a great time to be graduating from university, because there's so much opportunity, so many problems we can put our hands on. And I think this is something that university needs to ingrain within its foundation and impart on all of its students.
Mm-hmm. So do you also think that students are looking for a different kind of career after their studies nowadays compared to perhaps 2 or 3 years ago?
I would say so. Within Student Impact, we do notice that. The university does a great job, really, of preparing us for lots of high-class opportunities in the marketplace. But I think there is a growing number of students who say they don't want to go into these traditional careers. And the interesting thing is they come then, like internally, we discuss what path to pursue if you want to have a purpose-driven career or want to have an impact right away. And frankly, we don't really have the answer either. Here at uni, we have these specific paths laid out in front of us, and we have lots of offerings, great support networks. But I think there's this whole new upcoming part of the economy that is not yet properly addressed, be that impact-driven startups, be that different consultancies also. And I think this is something where Career Service Center courses, professors, and so on and so forth could maybe also try to broaden their gaze a little bit to support students on these new, or support students in their new searches for different career paths.
Mm-hmm. What do you both want to do after your studies?
Now, that is a bit more of a difficult question. I'm not sure, but I know that positive impact has to be a core part of it.
Same. I have the luxury of having 2 more years of student impact in front of me, so more time to decide, but definitely also positive impact in whatever you do. And I think what I learned during my first year within the presidency is that you can basically put your hand on whatever problem you find and have a positive impact through this channel. So I'm quite hopeful that there will be loads of opportunities opening up.
Mm-hmm. Now, looking a bit into the future, 10 years ahead from now, where do you see your organizations, Student Impact and Oikos?
Something that I'm quite passionate about in Oikos is the mission pillar of empowering student change agents. I think, as Johannes just mentioned, the idea of impact after Oikos, what happens once you graduate university, that is where we will spend the majority of our career, the majority of our life in our work environment. So I would love to see that mission pillar emphasized more, and I think for that our international community is a wonderful resource. So to really continue this network approach and to think big. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to coming back in 10 years and to still seeing Oikos here at HSG.
I guess for student impact, the way I see it, it can be one important solution driving this fundamental transformation we need in the business world, in the business education landscape, but also among students. And I think that's also one of the reasons why we were among the finalists for this award, just because at its very basic form, it is a solution that can drive sustainability into the business realm and into the education landscape. And in the next 10 years, I would hope to see similar initiatives pop up all over Europe, all over the world, be that student impact, be that other things, but just the very basic idea of bringing together students and business to empower each other towards sustainable impact. I think that's an idea that's scalable without limits. And wondering where this will lead us within 10 years, but I'm sure student impact will still be here at St. Gallen and still thriving.
So thank you very much to both of you for being here, for being our guest, and for fighting for sustainability.
I agree. Thank you for having us.
Thanks a lot for having us.
This podcast episode was recorded before the awards ceremony of the Green Gown Awards. Therefore, I've now quickly asked them about the results via WhatsApp.
I'm very happy to share that Oikos St. Gallen won an International Green Gown Award in the category of student engagement. It's really motivating to see that our hard work pays off and gets recognised on an international stage. And I'm really proud to be a part of the Oikos community that made all of this possible.
We are super excited to have been recognized today as a highly commended initiative at the International Green Gown Awards. We were specifically awarded in the category Next Generation Learning and Skills, which is focused on learning formats, courses, initiatives, or the like, that specifically focus on the development of skills and competencies in the context of sustainability. I think this is a great sign that our student impact model of bringing together students and businesses to develop sustainability competencies and specifically to empower students to become responsible agents of change. I think this is a great validation of our model. And I think it's even more encouraging given that we are actually scaling our model next semester and will be offering a course dedicated to developing the skills that students can acquire within student impact. Also in the framework of a course titled Be the Change, Discovering Consulting and Sustainability. So super excited, looking forward to continue to make waves and be the change within student impact and also in the new course that we're going to offer next semester.
That's great news. Congratulations. So thank you for listening. I hope you stay safe and healthy. Until the next time, have a good time.